The purpose of communication. Okay, I'm going to get a little geeky on this because I like teaching communication. Purpose of communication is to share a thought, a feeling, or an experience. It is not to express it. It's to share it. So we're going to do a little exercise. It works better if you close your eyes, but you don't have to. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a word, and in your mind, I want you to create a picture of that word. Okay? In your mind, create a picture. The word is star. Okay? So create the picture in your mind of star in detail. The more detail you put into it, the better the exercise works. Okay? Now we're going to communicate. How many of you had a 5-pointed object? Okay? Fair number. Was it just lines? How many were just the lines? Nobody did just the lines. Everybody, one just the lines. A couple people did a filled-in star. Can you tell me what color it was? Blue. Okay. Red. We got some yellow. We got some white. Okay. How many of you pictured a point of light in a dark sky? Or a dark sky with lots of points of light? Okay. Did anyone picture a person? Do you want to tell me who? No. That's why I asked. But you see what happened. If I asked you to picture a star and you think of a Hollywood movie star or an athlete star, did anybody picture the word itself with the letters? Okay? Because I gave you a hint at the beginning and then I made it a little ambiguous just to see what would happen. This is how communication works as far as sharing. If I say, hey, let's talk about stars, and you have a picture of a 5-pointed solid color object or a person or a word, we're not communicating. We think we're communicating, but we really have very different pictures in our minds of what's going on. So did you see what I did? We had a conversation. I asked a question, you gave an answer. I asked a question, you gave an answer. We took the information. Communication is a circle. You talk, then you listen, the other person talks, and then they listen. And eventually, if you ask enough questions and have the conversation, you will have the same thing in your mind. So when you think of that and go, okay, let's make sure we're using the same words, let's make sure we're sharing the same thought. And when you listen to somebody enough and go, let's make sure, here's what I'm thinking, is that what you're thinking? Yeah, so what you're saying is, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So I understand what you said. Yes, that is a gift. When you take the time and somebody says, yes, you get it, you understand, that's love, and that's respect, and that's good communication. But as we just discovered, good communication is not easy. There are obstacles to communication. Emotions. Amen. Yeah. Oh, wow. Why did you say that? I was angry. I was hurt. I was frustrated. Okay. When you're communicating and the emotion level goes up, the amount of communication should probably come down and you go, okay, let's just time out. Let me get myself back under control here. Because if I keep talking right now, I'm going to say some stuff that I might regret later. So let's just retreat to neutral corners. Maybe have this conversation at another time. Deal with the emotions, let the adrenaline, because if you have those strong emotions, fight, flight, flee, the brain is wired for that. Now you're in fight mode. If somebody says something that hurts you, your natural response is, I'm going to defend myself and hurt you back. And that's not good communication. That's probably not what you want to do. So you put that buffer in there and go, Okay. Let the emotions go. What do I really want? Let me make sure I heard. Let me make sure I understood what that person said. Because if you're listening and then you ask a question, it's like, wow, what you said really hurt. What did you mean by that? And sometimes they'll go, oh my gosh, no, I didn't mean that. And sometimes they'll go, you heard me. And then you know, okay, that's what they intended to communicate. Different life experiences. When we were describing the stars, and you were talking about stars in a night sky, okay? I can only communicate that if I've seen it. Okay? If somebody grew up in the city where, I grew up in the country where you come home at sunset. In the city, you come home when the lights go on. That was kind of the old school thing. But you never get to see the stars. And so we can be talking about stars, and you can say black sky country in Montana and all of the millions of stars, and I can go, that sounds nice. But if I've never experienced it, I can't fully understand it. Now, take that to a more complicated concept, like love. Anybody freak out when that word gets dropped? I love you. Oh, crap. What just happened? Okay? And the other person's going, wow, I just told you I loved you. And you went, rabbit ghosting, whatever they call it now. You're like, wow, your defenses went up and you backed away when I opened myself up and told you I cared. What just happened? Well, let me tell you this story. Like, if I grew up in a household where we didn't use that word, okay? We were not real verbal, huggy, touchy-feely people. Only one time in childhood, my mom said it all the time. Dad only said it, the time I remember him saying, I love you, is at the end of this sentence. I'm doing this because. Yeah, if you grow up with that, I just want you to know I'm doing this because I love you. It's like, this is not going to be good. I don't want to be around for this. No, thank you. I'm not interested. It's the same word, but the words we used are shaped by our life experiences. So when the person says, I love you, and it's like, okay, so that's kind of a trigger for me. Could you use another word just to clarify? I care about you, and I hope you do well. I like you, and then you use other words. You go, oh, so what you're saying is, okay, I'm comfortable with that. Distractions, we talked about those. If you're tired, if you're doing something else, give the person who's communicating the respect of going, yes, I am listening. And fatigue. Fatigue does not help. So if you're tired, it's like, can we do this when we're a little more rested? All right. So we did, anybody remember the first one? Show up. What was the second one? Listen up. Show up, listen up. Third one is speak up, and I put them in that order directly. There are some people who need to communicate more, who do a lot of listening, but they do a lot of internalizing, very passive, everything happens to them. And they need to speak up, and this is called setting boundaries. And I think you gave me an example of that earlier, and we talk about that. Boundaries is saying no to bad things so you can say yes to better things. It's never just about saying no. Okay? In recovery, if the only goal is not to use, that's a negative goal. And guess what you're thinking about all the time? Not using. So guess what you're thinking about? Using. So guess what's going to happen? Unless you have a better thing, there's going to be a relapse. So once you get to the point of like, I'm saying no to that because I want to say yes to this. And this is better than that. So if I want these good things, I'm going to have to say no to some other things. First place for boundaries, personal boundaries. Okay? You have to have behavioral boundaries, which is the ability to tell yourself no. Now I understand, hey, if we were good at that, we wouldn't be here. Okay? But it's a personal victory to be able to maintain some level of control and go, that's not going to happen. Because when you violate a personal boundary, you know what happens. Your self-respect goes down. You hate yourself. You give up. You lose hope. And so maintaining a personal behavior boundary of going, no, I don't do that. And being very strict and honest and disciplined with yourself. And then you also have moral boundaries, the ability to determine right from wrong. You have a set. Everybody has a set of moral boundaries. If I talked to you individually and just said, okay, what's one thing that's just not right? Like, you just don't do that. That is not okay. You would be able to tell me some things. Here's the thing with moral values. You can change your sense of right and wrong. There are things that I used to be okay with that. Anybody have things like in the dark days in the midst of addiction? Yeah, I had no trouble lying to people, cheating people, stealing people. Yeah, that was okay with me. It didn't seem wrong at the time. Now it does. And then there are other things. It's like, wow, I didn't used to think that was okay, but that is a good thing. So you can change your personal moral boundaries and refine them. What you can't do is compromise them. Because if you are consistently doing something that is in conflict with your own moral boundaries, you're going to have guilt. And guilt will eat you up. So whatever it is, you have to know what your moral boundaries are, and then you have to find a set that you can live consistently with. All right, those are personal boundaries. You also have the relational boundaries, which is the ability to say no to others. This is the speaking up part. Remember, you control half the relationship. One of the 2 Dr. Phil quotes that I use is, we teach people how to treat us. Why do they treat us that way? Because we let them? Because we justify it? Because we don't speak up and say, no, I love you, I support you, and I accept you, but that is not okay. And if you want this relationship to continue as it is, that is going to have to change. Mutual respect is a requirement for healthy relationships. There's a class I do on the difference between toxic relationships and healthy relationships. In healthy relationships, there is mutual support. There's mutual respect. So think of the other people in your family. Do you respect them? If so, that's good. Do they respect you? You want that. You're going to need that in the relationship. There's a difference between love and respect. Love is given. I love you. Why? Because you're family. This is the relationship. That's the unconditional acceptance. Respect, earned, lost, regained. It's funny, I was watching some kids play basketball and in the gym this morning, and this tiny little girl, she stepped up to the foul line, and she did not look athletic at all, and this guy is like, yeah, you can't shoot. She didn't shoot a foul shot, she did a jump shot from the foul line with perfect form, swished it. That guy's face had so much respect. It was like, okay, you said it, and you did it, and I respect that. That's a pretty good way for getting respect back. However, giving disrespect is a trap. And here's the way this trap usually sounds. Hey, you respect me, I'll respect you. You disrespect me, I'll disrespect you back. A lot of people were raised that way, and that seems right. Let me explain why it's a trap. If you live that way, you've done 2 things. You have given the other person the control of the relationship. Who's determining whether it's respect or not? They are. You don't want to give away your power. Secondly, if you disrespect yourself, if you have low self-respect and low self-esteem, you're going to see that everywhere, whether it's intended or not. Okay? So the change in this respect thing and how you break that trap is this. Look, I respect myself. I have my morals, I have my boundaries, I have my way I treat people. It's not about you. So if you respect me, I will accept that and I'll respect you back. You disrespect me, doesn't matter. okay? You don't control me. I will control me. And there comes a time in breaking the cycle where you have to give the respect you want to receive to somebody who doesn't deserve it. And that is hard. But you know what you get back when you do that? I mean, when somebody deserves your worst, and you go, no, I'm not going to give you what you deserve. I'm going to let you know who I am. I'm the bigger person. I'm still going to help you. I'm going to I'm going to return respect for your disrespect. Most of the time, not always, most of the time, you get respect back. So if you are trapped in a disrespect cycle, that's how you break it. By speaking up, setting the boundaries. I love you. I care about you. My half of the relationship, this is what I have to do. And I want to share that with you. You do you, I got to do me, and then we'll figure out if there's an us. And that us part is where the you and me overlap. It's the shared part. Last thing. We'll review them again. First one was show up, listen up, speak up, grow up. This is about personal growth. The putting away childish things, that's actually from the Bible. When I was a child, I behaved like a child. I thought like a child. I acted like a child. When I grew up, I had to put away the childish things. There are what we call 2-year-old coping skills. Anybody have 2-year-olds currently dealing with? You raised your hand and yawned, which means absolutely you're dealing with, yeah, okay? Typical 2-year-old coping skills: whining, pouting, stubbornness, temper tantrums. When we see that behavior, we go, you're acting like a 2-year-old, which is perfectly acceptable if, in fact, you are a 2-year-old. The longer you use 2-year-old coping skills, the more inappropriate and kind of sad and pathetic they become. So when you see an adult resorting to their 2-year-old coping skills and you have to go, really? We're pouting and whining and throwing temper tantrums. That's what we're going with on this one? Like, well, when you say it that way, it sounds bad. But yes, that's exactly what I was going with. There are 4 areas in which we can grow as people. And again, to summarize, want a better family, you do that by becoming a better person. First of all, mental growth. Learn something new. If we went around and say, what's something you've learned, something new that you've learned in the last month? Are you staying sharp, learning new things, keeping open to new ideas? Recovery is all about thinking differently. Your brain is what you think with. Your mind is how you think, and you have to renew your mind. That's how I used to think. This is how I think now. That's part of mental growth. Emotional growth is about learning to accept your feelings. And here's what this looks like. There are days when you go, so help me, if one more thing bad happens, I am not going to be okay. And that's weak emotionally. Emotional strength sounds like, you know what? Bad things have happened. I've been hurt. I've been disappointed. I've been rejected. I've gotten bad news. I'm okay. I can handle it. I'll get through it. I'm fine. We don't deny emotions and we don't try to control emotions, but we do accept them. One of the hardest things about living sober, the pain. That emotional, painful feeling of, dang, I know how to make this go away. I don't want to feel this. No, you can't make it go away. It is part of your life. You have to feel it and get through it. So growing emotionally is hey, this is what I'm feeling. It's awful, it's terrible, but it's temporary. It'll pass, and I'm okay with it. Physical growth. This is the simple stuff. Eat right, exercise, get enough rest. Do what you can. Here's the thing. This is the body you have to live in. Okay? If it feels bad, if you eat like crap, you feel like crap. Okay? I didn't design the system. I just describe how it works. You actually have within your gut Like that whole trust your gut thing, I know it in my gut, that's legit, that's science, enteric nervous system, millions of neurons sending messages back to the brain to tell you how you're doing. Okay? So you will have to make some changes on that to grow. And exercise. Where's Billy? I just saw him. I never fails. Okay? We got some exercise people in here. Right now, if we had everybody stand up and just run in place, okay? 10 seconds. And then sit down, you would feel better. You'd be awake, you'd be alert, your emotions would adjust. You say, okay, I can do more of this. It is as good as antidepressants for treating mild, moderate depression. Do something. Get out, get moving, and get enough rest. If you're not sleeping at all, get some help with that. I called you out. It never fails. You were like my exercise icon. But how
I actually ducked when you called my name.
just well played, sir. Respect. All right. Last one. You can mental growth, emotional growth, physical growth, spiritual growth. You have to connect to something bigger than you that gives life meaning and purpose. This is not about religion. This is about knowing who you are, why you're here, and what you're doing with your life. Okay? At some point, growth becomes spiritual. And it can be like all the volunteers that we have here that are saying, this is what I want to do. This is who I am. This is what I was made for. And when you find that connection to family, to causes, to purposes, you can't live without meaning and purpose. And once you go, no, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow, then family gets stronger when those are shared. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to picture these as 4 batteries. Mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Those are the 4 batteries that you run on. And I want you to give yourself a power level. 100% is fully charged. 2% is just about ready to turn off. Because here's the thing, you are battery operated. If you drain your batteries down to the point where they are empty, you will turn off. You will lose the ability to function. So you have to find the things that help you recharge your batteries. So mental growth, give yourself a score between, we'll just do 1 and 10. 10's fully charged. 1 is just about ready to turn off. Emotionally, how are you emotionally? Feeling strong, like you can handle something? Fully charged emotionally? Or you're like, wow, no, I'm running on empty emotionally. Same thing with physically. Do you have energy? Can you do what needs done? Or are you going, wow, yeah, I need to take a little better care of this terrestrial transport unit. I don't know where that phrase came from, but your body. And then spiritually, yes, my life has meaning or purpose, or no, I don't have a clue. Or worse, I think I might be a universal cosmic mistake and the universe is trying to take me out. Okay? That will rob your joy. That will rob your desire to live. That will infect your relationships. All right. Just for review, if you want to make those relationships better, show up, listen up, speak up, grow up. Here's what I want you to do. Last thing, and then we'll take some questions. Pick one. Of the 4, which one is the one that, I need to do that like tonight, tomorrow, immediately? That's my top priority. Again, raise of hands, 1, 2, 3, 4. Of those 4 categories, show me which one's kind of the greatest need right now. Okay, we got some 4s, 3s, 2s, 4s. Okay. Good. There's a sense of direction. There is something that you can do to make things stronger. And again, if we go back to the beginning, How do you build a strong, healthy, supportive family? By becoming a strong, healthy, supportive person. And those are your action steps to bring all those things to the table. Last thing I put up here, we're gonna make this material available to you. So if you want to look me up on Facebook, just look up Family Dynamics. You'll actually see an FOA picture there. I have lots of family resources that are coming through there all the time. Instagram is Family Dynamics 1, internet. FamilyDynamics.com was too expensive. I couldn't afford that one. So dynamicfamily.org. We want to be a positive influence to help you build the strong, healthy families that you deserve. Thank you.